Dan, thanks for joining us again. As we do normally at the end of every block is to evaluate and look forward. So thanks for joining us. And we'll have a look. As we see, we're fourth in the league now. Played 6, won 4. Started off quite well. If we start with a game up in RGC, same as last year really. A good start with not a bad squad going up there, and still a few youngsters. So a good start to the season, we could say there.
Yeah, obviously RGC is a tough game to start the season with, but I think it's good to get the team bonding together, the team spirit, obviously with the long bus journey there. Like we said, it was a great win. It's always a tough place to go, so to come away from there, with a good win, we started the season off how we wanted to start the season. And obviously then we had a little blip and obviously the couple of weeks after that, but to start the season, going away to RGC and getting our win, it was a good start for us.
Going up there is always tough, but going anywhere in the league now is tough really. Because sides tend to turn up week in, week out, especially at home. As you mentioned, we move on to the next two with the Quins and Abo Vale. What do you think went? It was a scrappy game against Quins. It was quite tit for tat all the way through. What do you think went wrong there? Maybe a few questions, maybe that the Quins wanted it more on the night?
But to be fair, Quins, I thought they were excellent. Obviously, they disrupted us when we had the ball. We couldn't get into any rhythm or any flow into the game. And they scrum had the better of us. Their young backs played real nice. They scored some real nice tries. And, we spoke about after, the contact area was massive. And, their back row was excellent that game. And, if we couldn't get the ball, we couldn't cause them any trouble. And I just thought that, like I said, I wouldn't say it's a want. I just think they played much smarter than us. And, at the end, I think it was 33-all at the end. And obviously they went for a kick a goal and we've tried to run it out. And, I'll take my hat off to the boys here. At home, we're not going to settle for the 33-all draw, so the boys will back themselves to try and get that, to try and go the length of the field. And, I know it didn't pay off, but, I'm not going to take that off our boys, if, I'll back them to go from anywhere on the field.
We can't really avoid talking about the Abo Vale game. First half, not too bad, competitive, still in it. They scored, I think, if I remember, at the end of the first half.
Well, it was...
And then they just took away in the second half then.
Yeah, I think it was 17-15 to them, 4 minutes left of the first half. Obviously, we were playing into the wind. So, we were real pleased with where we were at that point in the game. Couple of errors from ourselves and, we give Vale momentum and field position, and to be fair to them, they capitalised. They scored 2 tries in 4 minutes, and from going in at half-time to 17-15, it was 31-15. So we knew second half we were facing an uphill task. And, the most disappointing thing for me was, and like I spoke to the boys after the game, is second half we quit. And I've never seen that in us in the 5 years that I've been here as a coach. And, it real hurt. Obviously the coaching staff, the playing group, and obviously we had a lot of young boys out that day. And I think the end of the game and the week after, then them boys realised what it is to play for Cardiff RFC. And obviously what we done up in Vale was not acceptable, and it wasn't us. We had a good hard look at ourselves. Like I said, credit to Vale. You give them field position, they'll execute, and they scored some really nice tries towards the back end of the game. And but for us to quit, it wasn't acceptable. And I think if you look at the 3 games after the Vale, obviously we had a hard look at ourselves in training. We had to tidy up a couple of things, but most importantly, we had to make sure that everybody in the room knew what it feels like to play for Cardiff RFC. And I think them boys soon enough got that message. And as you can tell by the results over the 3 games after that, that's more like us. And I know we had a couple of key injuries in the forwards, and obviously them boys have been tripping back in now. And as you can tell now, we're a much different team. And it's just obviously we're just gutted how the break have come now, because we were starting to pick up a bit of momentum, and then 3 home games. 3 good games for us against 3 tough opposition. Aberafon have been playing well, Pontypool and obviously Llandovery, which was, a real good game last weekend. And like I said, obviously I think the break have just come at the wrong time for us.
I think, as you mentioned, there are a lot of young players in the side, and a lot of the new signings who have come in, played in that game. So it's a big learning curve, really, to take the rough with the smooth, especially with a loss like that. But the reaction, it was more of a grind in the Aberafon and the Pontypool game. both really in the first half, tit for tat, really sussing the opposition out, but in the second half just got into that rhythm and polished both sides off in the second half.
Yeah, it's like, like you say, like obviously as a Cardiff, everybody knows how we want to play, and I was a little bit disappointed in the first halves of both of them games because the work we done was excellent, but I just think we were in our shell a bit to pull the trigger. I think there's a couple of times in first half of both games where we could have pulled the trigger, moved the point of contact, and we could have had a little bit of joy. And that's what my message was at halftime. Like, I've never told the boys to go into their shell. I want them to back themselves, back their ability. If they see space to take it, and if it's a skill error, it's my job and the coach's job to upskill these boys. So I never want them to go in their shell. And I think in the second half of the Pontypool game, especially, our defence first half playing into the strong wind was outstanding. We limited them any entries into our 22. I think they had 5 or 6 seconds in the whole game in our 22, and we knew Pontypool were a big physical team, so if we keep them out of our 22, we have a good chance of going on to win that game. So I thought our defence and our discipline was outstanding, and like I said, in attack, we created the opportunities, probably didn't take them, but then, some real good line-out defence then led to a couple of tries for us, and I think we did eventually manage to turn the screw probably the last 20, 25 minutes, obviously, because we know they're a tough team and, and they're never going to stop and give up. So it was important that we did pretty much try and kill them off when we had that momentum, because, if you give them a sniff and let them come back in the game, they'll take you.
Taking that positive feel from the Aberafon and the Pontypool game into the Llandovery game, which, Llandovery have been a great side for years now, and they're always in that top 2, top 4. And, I think coming down here, they really fancy their chances because they front up well, big pack, they do play well out in the backs. And, it was quite a tasty game. But, going into that game, like last year, the game down here, I think there were loads of tries in the first half.
46, 43, yeah.
The try scoring was great, and it didn't disappoint the arm wrestle on that day, but a fantastic result, that one, to beat them here at home. And I think especially the last 15 to 20 minutes in defence was fantastic.
Yeah, we said obviously we know, like, obviously we respect every team in this league, and we know that Llandovery are a great team. That, like you said, they got a good forward pack. The back line's full of gifted individuals, but obviously they play real well as a collective, as a team as well. And they got game breakers all over the field. And for us it was important because it was a completely different game plan from Pontypool to Llandovery, and it was important that we got that message across in the week on the Tuesday and Thursday that this game is going to be much different. Llandovery, to be fair to them, if they want to play through the forwards, they can. But when they get that speed of ball, they can be very dangerous. So, I think we scored the try after like 3 minutes, and then 5 minutes later we're 12-7 down. So we know how quick and how good they are over in transition ball, and it was important to us how we limited that. And I think, to be fair to Lloyd, obviously a halfback, young outside half, I thought he controlled the game really well. Obviously we wanted to try and play. Obviously we didn't want to. We know what Llandovery can do, but we also know what we can do. And like the message was for us to be brave and not wait to see what Llandovery chuck at us. What can we chuck at them? And because if you go into a game against a team like that and you think that you're going to defend for 50, 60 minutes, it ain't going to come out well. So we knew it was important that we impose our game plan onto them and see how they could cope with us. And like you said, it was a great game, back and forth. Like, obviously both teams played some real good rugby. Both teams showed some real good defence. And like I said, it was great for us to come out on the right side of that result. And like they showed at the end, like Llandovery, last play of the game, they've gone 50, 60 metres to take our extra bonus point and get themselves a bonus point. So, they're great games to be a part of. I think they're exactly what this league wants. Obviously, there was a lot of youngsters on show. I think between the two teams, there was 20, 10 from Cardiff pathway, 10 from Scarlet's pathway playing that game. I think it was just a perfect advert for the game. And, if you speak to any person who come down to watch that game, they were, it was a great game to watch. And obviously, as a coach, he's very nervy at times, up and down, because, he didn't know what was going to happen next. But, that's where the boys get their learning from. And, it was, like I said, it's great for us to get that win.
And a nice run as well, having those 3 tries at home, 3 games at home. It shows really the importance of getting that momentum at home is a bit nicer, isn't it? To protect your fortress as it is. As you mentioned, building the momentum and the break now. How important do you think is this break? Because losing a few to different campaigns, but a few boys coming back as well, hopefully for the first game against Newport. But do you think is it a good time for reflection, or would you rather just carry on?
Obviously, like, it depends where you are. Obviously, we would have liked to carry on, obviously, after 3 good wins. And to be fair, like, obviously, we know Newport, that's going to be another tough game. We know if you look at the table, it looks deceiving. We know what a quality team Newport are, and we know the great games we've had over them over the past 4 or 5 years, and we're expecting exactly the same. So we give the boys a week off last week to rest, look after themselves. We come back in this week now, nice short and sharp training session, Tuesday, Thursday, and then obviously we'll flick the switch and next week ready for that game down in Rodney Parade, because we know like what Newport can do. But like I said, we also know what we can do, and it's about us making sure that we get our stuff right to put on the Newport. And obviously we know that, same as Llandovery, they're a team that can hurt you from anywhere. And like I said, people will look at the league and they'll see us at 4th, Newport at 9th, and think, it's an easy win for Cardiff. But we know it's going to be far from that, and we know the league table don't tell the whole story at the moment. So it's important for us that we get our own stuff right, individually, collectively, as a coaching staff, as a playing group. Get that across the table over the next 10 days, because we know it's going to be a tough game going to Newport.
And, as you mentioned, the game is played at Rodney Parade and not in Spitty Park. Would you rather go to Rodney Parade with a similar pitch?
Obviously, like, to be fair, Rodney Parade's a fantastic venue. Obviously, when we've had great battles in Newport, whether it be at the Arms Park, Spitty, or at Rodney Parade over the years, and obviously it's great for us to be. I know they get to pick 2 teams, I think, for the year, so it's obviously great for us that they've actually picked us, because we know both teams like to play. There's no better service than grass pitching. Wales, the pitches are outstanding, to be fair to them, and I'm expecting it to be a fast flowing, free open game.
That's on a Friday night as well, as starting that bit of block for us and leading up for Christmas. The Friday night afterwards, again, Swansea, but home. They've been going great guns, mid-table, but nearly every game has been close. So expecting a big challenge from them this year as well.
Well, like I said, you obviously got to respect every team in the league. Every team in the league can beat you. If you don't turn up, you think that team is going to roll over. You can come on the wrong side of the result. So it's important that we take each game week by week. We respect all opposition, and like we said, like Swansea, to be fair to them, they're playing some real good rugby. Their defence has been outstanding. Real tough team to break. So obviously, without looking too far ahead, obviously we concentrate week by week. So all in our thoughts at the moment is purely Newport. Obviously, we have had a look at Swansea and see what stuff they've done. But to be fair to us, we're just going to look at Newport, get our stuff right for Newport, hopefully come on the right side of a good performance, close that chapter, and we go to Swansea. But like I said, we don't take any opposition lightly in the league. We know everyone can beat everyone. It showed. Carmarthen Quins, like, if you look at Quins, to be fair to them, I think the last 3 times we played them at home was 82-0, 77-7, 50-0. They come in and beat us 36-33. So it just goes to show that if you're not on it, any Saturday, any Thursday, whenever the game is, any Friday, you can get beat. So it's important that mentally top 20 are switched on, we get our game plan right, and then most importantly, then we execute that game plan come game day.
Because if you look at the league, every game is tough. Wherever you go, you look at Carmarthen Quins away on a Thursday night, tough. You look at going away to Swansea, playing at Dunvant now, Newport away, Pooler away. They're all tough places to go. And Bridgend as well, with the back-to-back games at Christmas, and then the second block then finishing after Christmas. It's a lot of games in that second block, where you got to try and think positive about every game, I suppose.
Oh yeah, you target every game to win. Obviously, you want to win. Like, let's be honest, everybody wants to win. But obviously, the most important thing for us is that we do get our performance. So we know that if we get our performance right, we could come away with a good result. Where if our performance isn't right, we won't come away with a result. So it's important that we get, like I said, our individual roles, both sides of the ball, everything that we can control. If we get that right, and we put that onto the pitch, it'll take a real good team to beat us. And, if the better team beats us on that day, on that night, sometimes you've got to tap them on the back and say, well done. But if we can get the stuff that we want to control and we get that right, we're going to be a hard team to beat. And like you said, with the Aberavon, Llandovery and Pontypool game, 3 home games, every team in the league targets winning their home games. So, we do it, every single team will do that. So we know every away game is going to be a tough game. But the most important thing for us is that we get our stuff right, to put ourselves a good performance, to put our imprint on them games, and hopefully if we can do that, then we can come away with the right results.
You have to mention as well, and credit when credit's due, as you mentioned, Llandovery as well, who's in Scarlet's Pathway Boys. It was quite a lot of the youngsters who are coming through in the first few games, some due to injury. But, we're losing a few to different campaigns and injury again over the Christmas. Any names that you think can stick around up to start with those games?
Well, to be fair, like you said, everybody knows how our model works, and it shows that it does work. So, some boys might have got exposed earlier than we would have thought through injuries, but obviously injury creates opportunity, and every single person who put a jersey on this shirt for Cardiff have tried. Like I said, the second half against Ebervale was the first time since I've been here 5-6 years now that it felt like that we quit. And like I said, we spoke about after that game, obviously from a coaching point of view, from senior player group, which they led, to be fair to them, they led a lot of that stuff where we knew it wasn't acceptable. And you know what it's like, obviously Cardiff's a massive club, and some of the young boys obviously don't realise what a club it is to play for. And after that game, I'm going to show you that every single person in that squad now knows what it means to play for Cardiff. And I think that just showed against Llandovery. Obviously, Alan Rees played his 100th game. Obviously, a fantastic achievement for him. We done like a highlight reel for him on the Thursday night. We had a couple of good luck messages, had his parents and his family into the changing rooms, and just shown from his face, his family's face, that how much it actually means to play for Cardiff. And that was a strong message to all them boys in our room, that like this ain't any other club, like this is Cardiff, like we would say is the best club to play semi-professional rugby for, and it's a privilege. Some boys get it by opportunity, some boys get it by want, desire, and and when we put all them things together, we normally come out with a good result. So it was important to show them young boys what it actually means to play. And like I said, I think them boys know that now, and obviously the confidence, when we get it right, the confidence is sky high, and the injured boys coming back into the squad, they're only going to boost us. And obviously the competitiveness to play for the jersey, obviously the boys coming back makes the boys who are starting, the boys who are not playing, play better, because they know that if they're not performing, there's someone ready to take that jersey from them. And obviously, like, we've played a lot of youngsters, and a lot of young boys have opportunities with us, because that's how we work. And we know when them boys have them opportunities, they take them, but they also got to learn as well. So they get that learning from not just by not being hand-fed. They've got to earn that. And I think, to be fair to every single person, like I said, this year who put the jersey on, they've all tried to put on a pitch what we want to coach them.
Competition is healthy between players and between teams, and I think there's plenty of competition leading up till Christmas and after. So best of luck for the lead up. Look forward to the games coming up, and hopefully we'll look at the league table after Christmas and we'll either be further up or at least the same place where we are.
Hopefully.
Cheers, Dan.
No problem, thank you.